are you?
All is well. Thank you so much for asking. How are you?
I'm doing exceptionally well. Happy and alive.
That is great. All right. So, from our last conversation, were you able to implement something or help other people out as well based on whatever we had discussed back then?
Yes, definitely.
All right. Any other issues that you have faced over that period of time from that particular session to this session till now?
Not really. I don't think so. There is something which, yes, while randomly or while talking, if I feel like, so I'll definitely bring that thing on the table.
All right. Okay. Okay. So let's work on something new today. Okay. So I had done this exercise with another student of mine. So where we were talking about linking exercises and other exercises.
Mm-hmm.
So what we'll do is we have to work on, you can help your students or anybody who comes to you, work on these lines. These were certain things that I was able to help them out with. So the people who try to learn a new language, it's
Mm-hmm.
easier for them to take, longer periods of time to think about what they need to speak next. So to help with that, because whenever you learn a new language, you need to cut down on the longer thinking period.
Mm.
Increase your fluency. So that particular purpose, you can start playing this linking game where, for example, if I say house, they
Mm.
can say bricks, they can say
Okay. Hmm.
and say anything which is related to that.
Related.
And
Yes.
then what I do is then I give them any two lines that I want them to narrate a story on.
Okay.
Now, with the help of this linking exercise, if you tell them, hypothetically speaking, I just did it in a session. So what we did was I gave them a story that Ayan is a little boy who
Mm-hmm.
loves to play cricket.
Okay.
So with the linking game, they have some sort of an idea, okay, we can link this to this and this to that, and this is how we can create a whole story out of it. Now, with that, if we try to connect this thing to the sentence given and then they develop a story. So we have Ayan, who's a little boy. So little boys like to play, they have
Hmm.
to study also. So
Hmm.
we can kind of come up with a lot more content.
Content.
Here is where they can start thinking about content and how they can start drafting their content. With that, they can kind of talk about how they are going to go about it and they can get more ideas and then we can work on the sentence structuring. So this might be a good idea where they also feel included and they don't feel we're just the ones who are studying.
Hmm.
Because
Yes.
sometimes it gets really, really boring for the person who's studying. And
Exactly.
especially if it's one-sided. Only I am listening and you are talking. So it
Right.
gets very boring for a young child and for anybody who's
Anyone.
trying to learn a new language. Then
Hmm.
they're not able to understand. That's another obstacle or a hurdle. So that is something you can work on.
It's
Anything similar that you faced?
sorry.
Anything similar that you faced where,
Uh,
learning a language is a bit difficult for certain set of people?
I would like to highlight one point here because most of the time we have that habit of translating first. First, thinking in we were think in Hindi or our native language, then we translate.
Absolutely.
So, right, I guess it makes that process a bit longer. So,
Yes.
what is your suggestion on this? Should we go for translation method or we can skip it? How to think in English? That's a biggest
All
question,
right.
right?
So one suggestion definitely for this question would be try not thinking in your native or your local language.
Hmm.
The reason I say a big no to this, unless you have reached that level where you are translating your native language sentence into English and then you speak in English,
Hmm. Hmm.
not directly from your native language to English. The reason
Right.
is your native language might have a different grammar set and rules of grammar.
Hmm.
What you're trying to say? For you, you are translating it accurately. But
Right.
for English, the translation might not be accurate, and then you think you don't know English. So
Exactly.
that might be a little bad in terms of
Hmm.
fact, in terms of English, and
Hmm.
in terms of confidence.
Yes.
That is when you think, I cannot understand it, let me quit.
Hmm.
That is where these kind of negative thoughts creep in. So, to get over that, thinking in English would mean clarifying the basics. So, even if somebody has to start from ABCD, that's all right.
Right.
They have to understand that if they're watching English movies, they're listening to English podcasts,
Hmm.
that does not mean that they can start speaking in that particular manner instantly. Maybe the person in the podcast even did not start speaking in that particular manner that frequently. So that is something they need to realize,
Yes.
right? This is very, very important for them. Then second thing, which is very, very important for them is to realize is that comparison should not be done.
Hmm.
Not just between somebody who's a professional, but between even your friends. Everybody has a different learning pace. Even if you have to start from the very basics like alphabets, it's all right, because once you build a stronger foundation, it's like a permanent
Hmm.
investment.
Yes.
So they don't need to worry about the fact that, I am at this level, he's at that level, I will not be able to reach that level. These negative thoughts have to be kept at bay. Then thinking in English, which is a tough task, but
Hmm.
they come once they've realized, okay, this is what grammar is. This is the grammar that I use to speak English. Because what basically any educator does is they want you to understand grammar, so they give you exercises for grammar.
Right.
But what we need to do in terms of, because we are catering to a special sect of speaking that
Hmm.
language.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So for that, I would want anybody to help the student realize this language or grammar that you've understood. This is how we are using it in a sentence. So try explaining that grammar through spoken English.
Right.
Yes. So this will bridge a gap as to what basics are,
Hmm.
what are we speaking, and then they'll start thinking in English because of this. Maybe not instantly, maybe slowly, but they will.
Yes.
So this, everybody will have a different hurdle. Maybe somebody can stop thinking in the native language instantly.
Hmm.
Somebody can never stop, but then he can learn how to convert his native language into English, and then he can start speaking English.
True.
Everybody has to be worked on with in a different manner.
Hmm.
That is
And we
important.
need to be more conscious when we translate maybe idioms or proverbs, right? And
Absolutely.
yes, because in Hindi or simple, let's say simple, it's a very simple example. In Hindi, we say kholo, darwaza kholo, button kholo, shoe kholo, jacket kholo. But in English, there are a lot of different expressions
Variations to the
for
same.
this kholo, right? So yes, then I guess translation method can trouble you. And when we use certain proverbs, right? दिमाग की
Yes.
घोड़े दौड़ाओ और मैं भूख से मर रहा हूँ, so मेरे पेट में चूहे दौड़ रहे हैं, right?
Yes.
So yes, we need to be tricky enough if we are into translating method. So just make sure that you are not spoiling the beauty of your communication skills by using.
That is why, that particular reason is why that translation is not recommended. Because
Yes,
then they'll start translating everything. It will
everything.
not make sense. And then they'll remember the incorrect sentences.
Right, actually,
That
it
is the
happens a lot. It happens a lot. I have encountered a lot of people who are into translation method. So yes, it becomes more difficult to make them understand certain natural expressions, right? Because they are in habit of translating each and everything. So it becomes a task for them to think directly in English.
absolutely.
So, yes. Okay. And if I ask you that, we know that it's a process and yes, it will take time. So, what are your suggestions to those people who are in a hurry of learning this language? They can't wait. they are like, "कि मैम जल्दी से सीखना है." So,
All right.
mm,
So what they can do is, see, usually people come with the idea that they want to learn to speak the basic English that they require on a daily basis.
mm,
There is this one category.
yes.
And there is a category who know a little bit of basics, but they
Mhm.
want to improve their language and proficiency and vocabulary. So to cater to these, basically what we work on is these lines where we try to explain, if you're trying to speak just basic English, if
Mm,
you want to go to the PTMs, you want to go somewhere and you just want to converse with people and you want to feel included, then
mm,
you try rehearsing only those sentences, whichever you require on a daily basis. Try to write 5 sentences down every day and
yes.
try to speak them. Because until and unless you try speaking, reading might not be a problem for you, understanding might not be a problem.
Mm,
But speaking is where the confidence issue lies and the pronunciation issue lies. Until you kind of get over it, even in your alone space, you will
mm,
not be able, you be confident enough to kind of speak it aloud in terms of a group or public speaking. So speaking basic sentences, writing them down is where you're telling your brain, okay, this is it, this is what I'm supposed to
yes.
talk about. So that is important. Next, if you want to enhance your vocabulary, whatever basic sentences you use on a daily basis, I would want you to write at least 5 down every day. With that, whatever the main word of that particular sentence is,
Mm,
look for a polished word. Try to look for a synonym for the same. Once you do that, You replace the basic word with a polished word. You are using these basic sentences on the daily, and suddenly you will start using the polished version of that basic word, and you're still using the basic sentences. And gradually you can keep on learning more and more words. So you
Hmm.
polish your vocabulary as well. But until and unless the student is of that level where they know what they have to do, they should stick to just making basic sentences and speaking them until they realize I'm ready for the next step. That's how we can go about it.
Actually, yes, and they need to understand this that no, there are so many people who don't want to practice a lot when it comes to writing basic sentences. They are always, ma'am, we need some vocabulary, advanced vocabulary words and expressions, right? It's all about working hard, and it's all about being consistent with your practice, right? Because again, Rome wasn't built in a day. We need to understand this. Though we use this idiom a lot or proverb a lot, but we don't really apply or implement
Very
this,
true.
right? So yes, so it's a matter of practice, consistency, and how determined you are,
Mhm.
right?
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. So if you want to ask anything, you can ask because I have actually asked all the questions.
Okay.
Yes.
So, have you ever come across a student who is a quick learner,
Mhm.
but then they have the habit of getting bored too quickly? And as a result of the same, they don't, we know as an educator that they are way more capable of doing more and, participating or public speaking, but they don't want to take an initiative. How do you deal with that?
Actually, it is difficult. Sometimes it becomes difficult. Most of the time, what happens, they join the class, and maybe after 1 month or 2 months, they are like that. We are done, ma'am. Now I have sufficient vocabulary. I am very confident. I can speak with anyone, and I am already interacting with people, right? So sometimes it becomes difficult to make them understand that it's just a beginning, right?
Yes.
There is a long way to go. So if I try to convince them, but I'm not into convincing much because I guess if we are dealing with adults, they are mature enough what they exactly want in their lives, right? So I just ask them once or twice that you can add or you can practice more, because it's again then this point comes that we don't have this environment. I tell you, if I don't speak this language maybe for 1 month or 2 months, I feel underconfident because
Mm.
I don't really have any environment. This is
Yeah.
how I create this environment, just to be in touch with this language. Okay. And yes, when I am not in a good frame of mind, I do stuck, I do fumble. So but I have this realization, okay, otherwise I can come up with this beautiful excuse that I'm already running a YouTube channel, I'm on already conducting so many sessions.
Mm.
Okay, but I have this realization that this is not sufficient. I still, and there is always a room for improvement, so that's why I'm sitting here in front of you. So I think no one can make you understand. It's just up to you. So I try explaining them once or twice, and then it's their call.
All right. Makes sense. Makes sense. All right. Have you ever come across a situation where the student was very, I'd say they're brilliant, they are quick learners, but because they don't want to create that environment around themselves, even if they are getting that environment, they are trying to escape that environment. How do you deal with that? How do you get them back on track?
Again, no, I just try to make them understand what exactly their goal is, what are they looking for. Okay, there are some people, there's some, not some, there are so many people when they join, they're like full of beans, right? And after some time again all the enthusiasm fizzles out. But then I just tell them, just imagine that scenario. Let's say there is a homemaker who's very ambitious, who just wants to learn this language, but after 2 to 3 months, if she is in that zone of giving up. So I just try to recall that uh, goal, that just imagine now you are sitting in front of your children's teacher, and you are not able to express yourself nicely. So you know what, in this way you are just going to lose all everything which you have learned, right? It will be
Absolutely.
like breaking that chain of progress,
Mhm.
and then you will end up maybe blaming your tutor, your circumstances, or anyone. So
Absolutely.
I just give them very practical example, and I try to take them back to their goal. So this is what.
Okay,
Hmm.
that's good. That's good. Have you ever experienced a situation where a student has achieved their goal,
Mhm.
but then they don't wish to progress any further?
Yes.
Hmm.
Recently, I mean, I'm dealing with this situation. I have one student. He wanted to crack an interview. He was not getting any job,
Hmm.
and actually he was a beginner, and he wanted to get a job in IT sector. And IT sector is all about communicating, expressing yourself,
Absolutely.
and in a very advanced manner. Okay, so I helped him to crack his interview. Eventually, after maybe after taking 100 plus interviews, he was
Hmm.
able to get his desired job. But
Wow.
now he doesn't want to continue with his practice. He
Oh.
always comes up with a lot of excuses. Ma'am, my plate is full. I don't get time, or kind of stuff. He is still between, somewhere between beginner to intermediate. And I know he is comfortable with me. He can speak with me, but I
All
know his caliber. I know his potential.
right. Okay.
I want every day. I guess I message him that you should practice. But he always comes with these excuses that I don't really get time. So now he's taking his practice for granted because he got his job, but he's working from home. That's the issue. That's the
Okay.
issue. So he's again in his comfort zone,
Yes.
right? So this is the high time. Actually, this is the golden time for him to polish his communication skills. He can do that, but he's not willing to do.
Mhm. But then there's also this thing that I think students need to be told this in the very beginning when they're trying to learn a language. That even if you're in your comfort zone, you cannot stop pushing yourself because language is endless. And
Right.
every time with the competitive world and with AI coming in, I would suggest that students need to realize that the more they'll do is the more they'll learn. So
Learn.
in terms of language, it is never, it's not like a particular subject where you've finished a topic and you don't really need the
Yes.
rest of it. You've gotten what the topic does and how it operates or whatever.
Hmm.
Language rules can bend every single day. There is a new word, there is a new slang. There are slangs which are taken up by dictionaries. Then there are words which are removed from the dictionary. So you have to stay upbeat with whatever is happening in terms of language. So I
Right.
would suggest anybody who's through this, through this session, anybody who can kind of keep on pushing themselves, even if it is for a very small period of time on a daily basis or on a weekly or a monthly basis, I would suggest that not staying out of touch with the language.
Yes. And again, see, if you ask me, it's all about my own strong
Absolutely.
desire. Okay. I no one is motivating me,
Yes.
and no one can motivate me. I guess external factors help you to some extent. It's all about the kind of person you are. So if that person hasn't that desire to
Yes.
continue, I can't convince him again, and he says that, ma'am, I'm very lazy. So now it's all about getting that realization to pull himself out of his comfort zone. I can just inspire him. I can just tell him the reality. Rest, the ball is in his
Okay.
court.
Absolutely. All right. Our time's up for this session. Thank you so much. I hope I was able to answer all your questions.
Definitely,
Get some
definitely.
insight from you on the same as well. Hope to see you soon. Thank you so much.
Bye bye. Take care.
Bye.